Good morning. It is the Happy Nurse. Wanted to shoot a quick video because I was going through my morning routine, and people talk about morning routines a lot, but I wanted to actually show you what I do. I'm big on staying hydrated. If you run into me at an event, you run into me on the street, I always have fluids with me in some way, shape, or form. When you sleep at night, you still are putting out moisture. You sweat as you breathe. Every breath that you put out, you can feel the moisture that comes out of you. So especially in the wintertime, like it is up here in Cleveland, you do tend to dry out a lot more. And what's interesting is that even a 2% reduction, so if you're 180 pounds like me, roughly 3.5 pounds, if you lose 2% of your fluids, it has a tremendous impact on your ability to perform. So performance athletes, they always abide by that. Even though they may lose 6 to 10% of their fluid weight in a workout, they are constantly replacing it. So the old adage of 8 glasses of water a day, one of the rules I've seen is drink half an ounce to an ounce for every pound that you weigh. So for me, that would be roughly 90 to 180 ounces a day. It all depends on what you're doing. My rule of thumb, my gauge is always, what does your urine look like? Sounds weird to talk about your pee, but look at it. If it's dark, and quite honestly, if it's heavy, so if you notice that you go and when you look into the bowl, it's all collected down in the bottom, it's dense, it's heavy, it's concentrated. So that's my yardstick. It should be like straw colored, light yellow. And the way I do that is when I wake up in the morning, right out of the gate, I usually drink 10 to 20 ounces of water, just pound it down. And it's not water that's ice cold coming out of the fridge. It's water that is been sitting by my bedside. I don't like super cold water. For those of you that know me, I love to swim in cold water. I will run in cold temperatures. But when it comes to fluids, especially in the morning, I want to kind of warm my body up. And ice cold water tends to slow down your GI tract. Much like if you drink a warm fluid like tea or coffee or broth, it tends to help stimulate your GI tract. So I drink the stuff that I put on my nightstand the day before. Usually I'll fill it up at night, take a couple sips, set it there. In the morning, I'll drink half a bottle just to kind of get going as I'm going through my stretches that I get right out of bed and going through my gratitude. More and more, I'm drinking less coffee. I used to not drink it at all. My wife kind of got me started on it, and now I'm weaning myself back off. But if anything, I do about a half a cup is where I'm at right now. This is my favorite Yellowstone mug. If you've never been to Yellowstone National Park, one of the most gorgeous places on earth. Maybe we'll take a retreat there now that I think about it. That'd be a badass trip. The other thing that I do in the morning, and I kind of alternate between kefir and a kombucha, but I usually do, like anything else, moderation. I don't drink out of a whole bottle. I don't drink 20 ounces of this. A lot of people do smoothies. Whatever you do it in moderation, because nothing, even water, straight water, you can actually make yourself sick drinking too much water, believe it or not. It doesn't happen very often, but it can be done. So for me, I do 4 ounces. Sometimes I'm doing half of the daily recommendation, especially if it comes into something with sugars or something I just feel isn't super balanced for me. But I love this because of the probiotic effect, much like with a kombucha. And so the one thing I learned about this is to make sure that you always mix up your kombucha, because you get that little scum layer on the bottom where all the goodies are at. So really blend that in very well. I'm not a fan of the stuff with chia seeds in it because I really do not like chewing my fluids. Not at all. That is no bueno in my book. So kombucha is great. There's tons of flavors. People make homemade stuff. I've got a friend up the street who she makes hers vinegar based. I just love it, and it really does make me feel better. And I would have been a complete naysayer about 2-3 years ago until I started trying it, and it really just makes me kind of pop in the morning. One of my favorites, and I don't do this every day, but I love fresh squeezed orange juice. And you can see my baby cup here. My children laugh at me all day long. They're like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But I know that when I put this in here, it's 4 ounces. And for me, this is some natural sugars. It's also not inexpensive. This is $6.99, and that's for 32 ounces. So If you're a big juice drinker, and some people are, there's not a lot of servings in this. I tend to break it up because I don't want to have all that sugar in my diet right away. The common theme here, though, is no matter what your morning routine is, get the fluids in you and take time during the day to have that break. So if you're sitting at your desk and you're typing away, or you're in meetings all day where you're talking, the more you talk, again, the more that you expire the moisture that's coming out of your lungs. So continually rehydrate yourself, even to the point where if you have to set an alarm to do it that way. Because a lot of clinicians, a lot of physicians, as you're going through and seeing patients, you're not rehydrating yourself through the day. You find yourself kind of dragging in the afternoon. Lunchtime, you automatically know that you're dehydrated because you're starting to feel the dry mouth, and then you realize, man, maybe I went to the bathroom today. If you haven't urinated, it's probably a sign that you're getting dehydrated. So drink up, and as always, feel better, think better, live better, be better than before. Happy Nurse. I'm out.